I think everything has the word AI in it, if that helps.
Tom Thumb, I think.
Make sure you defrag your oven.
Is Google Skynet? That's the real question.
Welcome to the Hashtime Show, your weekly source for cyber news and info. This is episode number 8. On today's show, Dave, Chris, and Jeff discuss AI, machine learning and automation, and try to figure out if Google is Skynet. Check us out online at hashtimeshow.com. And now, on to the show.
Hey, welcome back to the Hashtime Show, your source for cyber news and info. This is episode number 8. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Vincent. Sitting to my left, Dave Norland, and across the table, Jeff Marshall. How are we doing today, guys?
Doing great.
Doing fantastic.
Hump day.
I have to be honest with you guys. I missed you guys. We took a week off. It is hump day. Thank you. I didn't want to not let that go addressed.
Yeah.
We took a week off, guys. I went out to Rocky Mountain Information Security Conference.
How was that?
How was it? Well, it was good. Go figure. No one in the security industry wants to be on camera. So that was the only. I roped in some guys from RSA, and I got Kurt Rogers, one of our guys. But no one wanted to be videotaped.
I think we warned you on that one.
Did you? I think you did warn me, Jeff. He said no one's going to want to be on camera. No, other than that, though, I learned a ton. It was a bunch of good keynotes. It was a very fun time. But anyways, my point is, I miss you guys. And I'm glad to be back at the Hashtime Show.
Missed you too, Chris.
And Dave, you were off for a week too, right? What did you do? You were out of work.
Yeah, pretty much you guys left me alone to, sit here in my sorrows.
By yourself?
Yeah.
I was off being a hostage inside a building with a 1.5-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't really a vacation.
So I was a hostage, yeah, sort of. In a
Sort of
way.
a vacation, yeah. But also a lot of screaming and a lot of chasing a toddler.
Okay. I think I had more fun than you.
Yeah.
I had to go to Denver and okay.
It was good though.
I was surprised though. Have you guys ever been out to the Rocky Mountain Information Security Conference?
I have not.
I'm not, no.
I was surprised there was over 1,000 people there for a cybersecurity, information security conference. I know it's one of the bigger ones, at least in the Denver area. And I had the chance to go listen to the Denver kind of state of Colorado, their CISO podcast. And it was actually pretty interesting, but I was surprised at the turnout. This is my first time going to a cybersecurity trade show. And are they normally 1,000 people type events or a little bit more boutique?
They're starting to get bigger. I mean, the Cactus Con, which is our big one in Phoenix, is becoming pretty large.
It's cool. It's good to know we're in a growing industry, right?
Absolutely.
Very true.
Well, cool. All right, guys. Let's jump into segment 1 of our show today. This is our segment really to call Getting to Know You. And I wanted to talk to you guys today, Jeff and Dave. I want to ask you guys, this could be in cybersecurity, or this could just be in general technology. The question I wanted to pose to you guys is, what is an emerging technology to keep an eye on for 2019 and beyond? Who wants to go first?
I think everything has the word AI in it, if that helps.
Is that a buzzword, Jeff, or do you think there's some real? Is that like VR from last year? Is that what AI?
I believe so. I hate that. We had a very interesting conversation with the folks over at Arizona State University was last week.
Yep.
That was a pretty funny conversation on AI. When we said, all right, let's really sit down and break this down and talk about what is AI, what is machine learning. And even they admitted, they said, a lot of it is fluff and a lot of it is just hundreds of if-then statements. And, it's really this kind of buzzword that everybody's using, and there's varying levels of what really is machine learning or AI.
Interesting. So if then, that reminds me of my Excel days, writing nested if statements.
In fact, that is one of the exact examples they used. Was Excel macros.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I always think, when I think of AI, that commercial that Commons in, I think for IBM or Intel, one of those, he goes, in AI, That's whenever I hear AI, I think of Common yelling at me with people playing violin in the background. You know what commercial I'm talking about?
Not at all.
No? Okay, well, cool. I guess I'll just be by myself. Me and Common will be over here.
But speaking of which, I mean, it all leads to Skynet. And if you have not seen the trailer for the new Arnold Schwarzenegger,
there's a new
one coming out of Terminator.
Are they CGI?
Where he is literally like 1,000 years old.
He lives in a barn now.
Yeah.
Are they CGI Arnold again, like what they did with the Christian Bale?
No, he's everybody else is CGI'd. But it has the original people in it,
Yeah. It's got the conspiracy lady. I always forget her name.
Who? From Terminator?
In Terminator 2, the kid's mom.
Oh, Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor. My gosh.
Come on.
I remember that.
You couldn't think of the character's
The conspiracy
name?
lady?
Here I am trying to think of
the focal character of the entire
actress.
series?
Hey, it's not Sarah Connor 2. It's
Linda
Terminator.
Hamilton.
All right.
Yeah.
Linda Hamilton, yeah. She's in it?
Yeah.
Is Eddie Furlong in it?
Who's that?
Good question.
John Connor from Terminator 2.
Okay. He's the annoying, whiny kid, right?
Yes.
I'd be surprised if he made it in there.
Okay.
But I'm sure it will be a smashing success.
So the Skynet thing my question is Skynet Google? Is Google Skynet? That's the real question.
So I don't know if Google is Skynet, but I think it is easy to blur the lines between AI and other things that seem to be AI. If you look at art, like computer graphics, a lot of the discussion now is around algorithms and like procedural refinement of input that gives you a very complex looking result. So if you took an image and then you applied a bunch of procedural changes to it and processing, you get something that looks handmade. And I think that's kind of where we're going with a lot of the security stuff. So if you look at some of the user-based analytics, that really is just an algorithm that's taking those events and kind of feeding it through all these different processes, which may indeed be just if-then statements, but it comes away with this conclusion that appears very, it doesn't appear, it is very like high resolution and informative and actionable, but really it's just algorithms on the back end. So I think that the leap from that to AI, I don't know when we'll see that. It's emerging, but I think maybe very slowly from an academic perspective.
But generally, I'd say most of the products that say they have AI probably isn't true AI.
Is it sort of like you can buy an ad word for AI, but does it mean that you do AI kind of thing?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And there was some really good discussion with the ASU folks where they got into what they wanted to accomplish with this, and it wound up being correlation. Well, there are correlation engines out there that we're already using. I mean, our content team can build a correlation rule in a day versus they may come up with a program that builds many correlation rules on a fly, but it takes them a year to a year and a half to fully develop the system. So I think there's like a cost benefit that has not fully caught up to a person that knows the technology, that knows how to write it in an afternoon. Eventually we'll get there and they'll have this framework that just builds these things and refines them, but we're not there yet.
By the way, this was a great conversation as Dave's sitting in front of all of these professors at ASU, and he tells them that he could do it faster manually.
Sometimes you can.
Yeah. None of us disagree, but the whole idea is once you build the system, then it can scale very quickly.
Yeah.
Sometimes the academics forget what it's like to be in the real world, right? Or they never
we
have
had a lot of discussion around that. Like, how do we? I think this is a big thing in our industry. How do we take what the academic community is doing and bridge the gap to corporations? Like, this is a huge passion of mine, and I've been doing a lot of talks with those guys about how do we take what they think and what they're working on and apply it to real world so you actually make a difference.
Yeah.
It sort of reminds me of my old roommate. He works at Intel now, and he's a mechanical engineer. He has PhD. I mean, when I read his paper, it's like a different language. My kids thought I was speaking a different language when I was reading it. I was kind of reading through it, and he was trying to apply. Intel hired him from a laser cutting technology and being able to lower moisture on the wafer. That's kind of how I understand it as a layman. But it actually had directly correlated, but it was interesting. It took like 5 guys to get it to be applicable in a commercial setting, even though they had proven it in a lab. Yeah. And so it's not this thing where you just go, hey, we're going to, I guess it was a decreasing fallout on wafer cutting with lasers. If you can decrease the amount of moisture that gets in during the process, something to that. Maybe I'm totally butchering it. Steve Klein, if you're listening, let us know. Send us an email to thehashtimeshow.com. Let us know. But it was something like that. And it took like 5 PhD level guys at ASU to make it happen at Intel. It's kind of interesting.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I'll never be the guy that is fighting the train using horsepower only. I forget what the analogy is. But wasn't there some famous competition between a guy on either a push cart or a train. You know, there's a race.
This isn't Back to the Future, the third one.
No, this is real.
He got 1.1 gigawatts.
It's a terrible example because I can't remember the details, but he bet somebody that he could go faster than the train, and then he beat the train or whatever. But it was just a matter of time until he caught up and until the train caught up and was surpassed everything.
Distance versus speed type of
something
thing.
like that, but
sounds like a math problem.
yeah. But point being, it's good to embrace technology when it gives you benefit and when there's real advantages to having it either replace or enhance certain activities that you're doing manually. But I think you got to know when to embrace it.
Going back to your example about the machine learning and the drawing, was that the NVIDIA thing you're talking about? Wasn't it NVIDIA that did that, Dave?
Yeah, there's a bunch of companies that have done it. I mean, if you're into graphic design or any kind of like 3D art, there's a bunch of companies that are doing it. NVIDIA has like some image processing where you can give it a set of inputs, and then and this is actual AI in the background that's changing those inputs into some kind of more palatable image like a beach or a mountain or some kind of landscape. And then on a more technical level, there's programs called like Substance Designer where you can actually make textures. This is more for like a video game development type scenario, but it uses all these algorithms to kind of enhance and process what you give it, which may be very simple in the beginning, but when the image is completed and it goes through all this node-based programming, you get something that looks finished. It looks like a real texture, like a real wood texture or metal texture, whatever the case may be. But that's kind of my point, is you can do all this algorithm enhancement, which may get you really far to the point where what is AI giving you beyond that? It's actually really hard to describe, I think, in security terms. What does it look like past that point of all this algorithmic enhancement?
Yeah.
My theory is this, you get, if the evil design, the Skynet thing, you get the Google and the social platforms to integrate with the Apple, okay? And then, they bought Boston Dynamics, right? Well, that's our...
Didn't they get rid of it? And then they divested?
Did they?
Yeah.
Well, okay, put me in my fantasy for a second. Hold on a second. So that's how we get the Terminator apocalypse, right? With Skynet, Boston Dynamics, and the phone, the hardware, the connection. And then once the world is destroyed, we'll just get Oculus Rift and NVIDIA and we'll make the Matrix. That's how you make the Terminator and the Matrix come together in the real world.
We'll sit in our little cubes.
Yeah, SoftBank, the Japanese firm, purchased Boston Dynamics from Google.
Okay. Well, cool. Now you just ruined my fun little story.
Man.
No,
So the story I was thinking of was Tom Thumb, I think, and how he raced a locomotive back when locomotives were much smaller with a horse, and he won. So I was not pulling that analogy out of nowhere.
Going back, so let's recircle back. Your point is, Dave, that... What's your point again?
Okay.
Sorry, I'm mixing up my metaphors here, and Jeff's correcting me. I had a great point. I got all thrown off
Wednesday
kilter.
afternoon. Okay.
Yeah.
So point being, I am okay accepting the fact that a human can do a certain job better than a machine until that machine has fully completed all its processes and it's mature and it can surpass that person and do it like 1,000 times in 5 minutes.
Got it. So right now, correct me if I'm wrong. Right now, we're in the phases we're the Tom Thumb phases where we can still pass AI, at least in our space. But at some point, AI is going to be powerful enough it will never be able to keep up.
Yes.
Got it. We put a nice end cap on that AI discussion.
And actually, Tom Thumb might have been what they called the locomotive. You know what? I don't know what this analogy is. All I know is that a horse raced a train at some point. The horse won, but after that, it was like acknowledged that you could do more with the locomotive.
Never again.
I'm not touching this analogy.
I was trying to find the what's the lady who was in the Battlestar Galactica remake?
That's a genre I'm not comfortable talking about because I've only seen it one time.
Jennifer Lopez.
You guys are both fine.
That is not accurate. I can already tell.
Jennifer Lopez wasn't in Battlestar Galactica?
I don't think so. She was in The Cell. Remember The Cell?
Oh, Cameron Diaz. That's it.
Oh, remember The Cell with Vince Vaughn?
Anyway, Katie Sackhoff.
Good movie.
Right? So there's a new Netflix movie, they're cheesy movies that she made. I'm trying to remember what the movie's called. It was on Netflix.
This is a good pod right here.
This is terrible, but I'm trying to find it anyway. So it was kind of like that where the AI was controlling the scenario, and it's kind of similar to Skynet type of thing, but it was pretty interesting. And it ends the world.
Interesting.
Positive, hopeful, I would say.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
So, yeah, AI. Moving on.
Emerging technology of the 2019.
Elon Musk was right. This is all bad.
Yeah.
So, are you guys both AI, or Dave? Do you have a different emerging technology?
I'm pro AI, I guess I would say.
Well, what's your? Going back to the question. Yeah, what's your? Do you have a different one to offer to the table of emerging technologies to be looking out for?
So I would also throw out, automation is a big trend.
You can't have two. You already had AI.
I'm still thinking.
I'm just kidding.
Automation is part of that whole AI discussion, right? So AI is just an enhancement on automation. Like how does it take the automation and then add to that and make decisions and changes based off of other things that happen.
Right, because you can't just have AI in a vacuum. You have to be able to apply it, right? And that's what automation does. Just teasing, Jeff. You can have as many as you want. You can have a third one if you want to.
I'm done. Thanks. Just kidding.
So what was the question?
Dave, do you have another emerging technology we should be looking out for?
Drones. Drones are big right now.
Drones are big.
Yeah. Doesn't really have anything to do with security.
That's okay.
I don't know. Honestly, I would agree with AI is a buzzword, but it's also a real thing. And it is probably going to have the biggest impact on security as far as technologies go. I mean, no one's going to invent a new firewall that is, I mean, they can. It'll probably be better than the last one, but it's not going to dramatically change the status quo. Not like AI will, or some kind of AI hub that just takes all this data. We have a data problem in security. Data is hard to manage. As soon as that whole process is streamlined, and as soon as you have AI writing parsers and writing rules, security is going to change dramatically. So whoever makes it to that point first is, I don't know what security looks like after that.
Right.
Skynet will let you know.
We'll be clued in. We'll be plugged in. So I think you're right. Just to finish this up, I mean, automation's interesting too. I'm thinking about it more, Jeff. I was teasing it, but now I'm thinking about more the automation. Automation's always part of what we do, and it's also part of like automation's in sales, it's in marketing, it's in finance, it's in a lot of elements, and as it kind of works in parallel with a lot of stuff, and it makes sense that you bring that up as something you have to watch out for as well, and how you're being able to correlate that with what you're doing for your business, because AI out of the box is not that useful, but if you can put it into a procedure, into a mechanism that can help scale what you're doing without having to throw more people at the problem, that's where it becomes a business driver.
Yeah. There's all sorts of ways that you can train AI. One of the big things when you start to research it is, they need training data. They need to have a set of data points that you can apply to that decision-making framework, and then it does come away smarter. So I know somebody who works in, I forget, he's a biological engineer, and he studies basically molecules and that kind of thing. And one of the things they do is they have all these AI algorithms that help analyze how the molecules are going to interact. And in order to get that AI learning, that machine learning up to speed, is they have to give it training data. And if there's anything that we don't have a shortage of, it's data. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we're able to figure out how to apply that data to some kind of machine learning in a way that makes it better and enables us to take actions, that really is the future of security. But I don't know when we get there.
I just got this great vision of Denzel Washington in training data.
Denzel, you're a meme machine, Jeff Marshall. Denzel Washington, but he has he's holding some routers and switches and stuff with him, something like that.
Yeah. Or it's just Denzel Washington with data from Star Trek.
There you go.
Yes. We'll end with that one. We'll end with that one. All right, guys. I think we covered. Well, I don't know what we were doing, but we talked about AI for a long time, and I'm with you guys. I think that is an important trend we should be watching.
I think the other trend is really around data privacy, right? I mean, GDPR. You got CCPA in California. I mean, I think data privacy processes and products and things, you're going to see a lot more going into the future.
I have some stuff I want to talk about with that. So let's jump in to the news, because one of our news stories this week has a little bit of a hint towards data privacy. So on that note, let's jump on to segment 2. Let's talk about our cybersecurity news of the week. Headline number 1. Let's circle back to a news topic we had a couple weeks back about the BlueKeep RDP vulnerability. The DHS tests remote exploit for BlueKeep RDP vulnerability. This is off darkreading.com. DHS tests remote exploit for BlueKeep RDP vulnerability. Agency urges organizations with vulnerable systems to apply mitigations immediately. So this is a Windows 2000 thing. If you're still running Windows 2000, are people still running Windows 2000?
Sure.
I'm confused on this whole article because, like I said, our guys wrote an exploit very quickly.
Yes.
I'm not sure why is the DHS the new framework to not say NSA. Like,
yeah, a couple things. Exactly. Why is DHS announcing that they wrote an exploit? That's not very serious thing to me. But yeah, of course you can package and make these exploits modular and put them in things, and I
feel like this is hey mom, look at me.
Yeah, I don't know why this is a big deal.
Yeah, so what else do they say? The Department of Security is great. So they're basically saying like, hey, you need to patch if you haven't patched already.
That should be their slogan.
Yeah. Man, these
guys are great.
Yeah, I just saw Windows 2000 when I was reading this article, and I was like, really? Like, but I guess it makes sense. There's people with old legacy systems that are still propped up, right?
Well, they are the government, and the government is still running Windows XP, so I'm sure they have Windows 2000 as well.
Was it the Office of Personnel Management was still using COBOL, I think, when they got hacked, or some crazy ancient programming language?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's still plenty of people out there with Windows 2000, so... I again, to Dave's point, I think we're just confused. Why is DHS saying, "Hey, we got a remote exploit"?
Yeah,
is this so it could be leaked out to somebody, or
exactly?
You know, what's the point of announcing that?
Their quote. There's their quote. It only takes one vulnerable computer connected to the internet to provide a potential gateway into corporate networks.
So is this a scare tactic? I mean, like,
seems like it.
Cybersecurity scare tactics should go away, right? Like this, if you don't know that there's cybersecurity risks, you live under a rock. And scare tactics are not how you get customers. Like anytime I hear any of our salespeople or anybody else trying to use a scare tactic, I light them up, because scare tactics are not a way to get customers. They're not a way to get people to think that they need to buy this product. That's not the world we live in anymore. Cybersecurity is such a big thing and such a problem that you don't have to do that.
It's sort of somewhere between no duh, no shit at this point. Like, you got to have cybersecurity.
Yeah,
exactly.
They make a big deal about this thing being wormable. Well, yeah, anything's wormable. A worm is just a way of carrying it from one host to the next. So that's strange.
We applaud you guys, DHS. They did say that this exploit would be capable of rapidly spreading in a fashion similar to the WannaCry malware attacks of 2017.
We probably shouldn't have said that, because if we get breached, now we know it's the DHS.
They're going to come after us now. Just kidding, DHS. We appreciate what you guys doing for our country, and we applaud you guys that are out there working. So, all right, on to the next one. We'll trash somebody else. Let's trash Facebook. They're next on the list.
Perfect.
Just kidding. I love Facebook. That's where I see pictures of all my kids. Facebook plans global financial system based on cryptocurrency. Facebook unveiled an ambitious plan on Tuesday to create an alternative financial system that relies on cryptocurrency that the company has been secretly working on for more than a year.
That is the grossest sentence I've ever heard.
I'm not quite sure what you mean, Dave.
No, I mean, Facebook, which is this...
So here's the confusion here's the confusing part that I have in this whole thing. If you look at some of the companies that are involved in this, you got MasterCard, Visa, Vodafone, PayPal, eBay, Spotify. These guys obviously have more financial than Facebook. So what
yeah,
I'm not sure why Facebook is leading this.
How is it kept secret too? If all these companies are involved, someone had to have leaked it at some point.
It's pretty incredible when you think about what it would have taken, or what it has taken, to build something like this, and the fact that it didn't get out until now is an incredible testament to their security and secret keeping.
So look, cryptocurrencies are cool and everything, and like the whole idea is awesome. Taking this out of the government treasury and making this an open thing. The problem is you got corruption everywhere you go, and this kind of lends to business taking over.
The fascinating thing to me is when you look at a typical cryptocurrency, it's the value is that it took somebody a long time to mine for that, and that is what gives it this kind of intrinsic value. But if you read the Libra white paper, they give you a few different bullet points here. It says So one, it's built on a secure, scalable, reliable blockchain. Fine, whatever. And then two, it is backed by a reserve of assets designed to give it intrinsic value. And it doesn't say anything about what those assets are.
It's just fiat money, it sounds like.
Exactly. So
it.
Whose fake standard or imaginary gold standard is this running on? Is it running on all of these different companies have some giant slush fund of money that is propping this thing up? Like, it just seems
every dollar you put in it, Superman money's them some change.
It's so creepy and weird.
I have so many thoughts on this. So first of all, for our listeners out there, we're referencing the New York Times article on this, and the cryptocurrency is called Libra. If you guys want to look it up. The guy that the blockchain, I think he's the executive of blockchain. The guy that, what's his name here? He used to work for PayPal. He is in here. His name is Mr. Marcus. Mr. Marcus, I don't know what his first name is. Mr. Marcus is heading this up. They're talking about this not being as volatile as cryptocurrency and as being a way that, you can trade, and they're trying to get away from, cryptocurrency is well known as a speculative currency right now. A lot of people are trying to make a fortune. I met a guy who rolled up on a Rolls Royce Dawn who could have been older than like 25, 26, and he made all his money in Bitcoin speculation, mining and then selling at the right time. So that's what people know it for right now. It's also very well known for those who are Silk Road travelers, people who buy illegal drugs online. Cryptocurrency is very well known for its use for illegal, nefarious means because it's untraceable. Yeah. So they're trying to.
Well, so they say. They've proven that that's not necessarily the case.
Right. And so I'm not as read up on that as maybe as you are, Jeff. But my point I'm trying to get to is they're trying to.
My point, Chris, is I'll track you down.
Be careful. My question was, they go, that's the whole nature of cryptocurrency now as we know it. Is it as blockchain? There's intrinsic value built in by mining it. It's not traceable, or it's supposed to not be traceable. Right. And so the fact that they're going to make you register for it with an ID, I think they had in the article, and they're going to tie it to this. I don't understand. It almost is not even a cryptocurrency other than the fact that it's blockchain created.
They talk here too about trying to compete. Facebook's trying to compete with WeChat, right? And WeChat's whole payment platform, which is a very lucrative and very good system. If you've ever used WeChat, but
I haven't. What is that?
So WeChat's like their messenger platform in China with, that has a built-in currency exchange and stuff, so you can buy and sell and do things in WeChat. Very, very common practice there to purchase things through WeChat.
Yeah, so I would encourage everyone to go to this Libra.org site just to kind of read about what they're proposing. And it's a very strange presentation they have here. And I understand what they're getting at, but they keep referring to these people called the Unbanked, people who don't have any association with a formal financial institution. They don't have any kind of savings account or checking account. And that is really who they're trying to target with this. But in doing so, they're going to spread it to everybody. And I hate to go down that conspiracy theory mindset, but you have to consider, what does this do to formal, I guess what they are now, fiat currencies? Mm-hmm. Because, you've got the euro, the US dollar, the yen. Is this not an idea to just marginalize all of these currencies? And this Libra, what do they call it? Libra Association is an independent, non-for-profit membership organization headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. It's this shadow organization. I mean, who knows who is running the Libra Association? What is propping up this currency? It's really bizarre to me.
The whole thing. So I've listened to a couple different podcasts on the Joe Rogan Experience with, I think his name's Alexis Dimitri. Sorry, they call him the Bitcoin Jesus. And I've listened to a couple hours to him talking about Bitcoin, breaking it down. The two things that stood out to me, because, we're here in America. Most everyone that I know, that I'm sure you guys know, has a bank account, and it's not a big deal. But in third world countries, I've hired people in the Philippines, and I've hired people, and paying them through crypto has sometimes been an easier way for me to compensate them, So we forget that other countries don't have the same infrastructure that we have. So that was one of the promises from a Feel Good when he started explaining it that way. That makes a lot of sense. It's some way that you can trade and you can have a monetary value, because even though
decentralized, that's the whole point.
Correct.
Of that. Yes. With this is, they say it's decentralized, but no, this thing is headquartered in the banking capital of the world,
right?
Geneva, Switzerland. There's no way to spin it otherwise.
There was that, and then the other piece that I liked.
Don't you offshore your dollars there?
Not yet.
Talk about that, Jim.
Not yet, right? Gonna make a couple more dollars first. The other piece of cryptocurrency that I liked, as someone who's been a content creator, or someone that is a content creator, but someone who's been an independent content creator, I like the idea, or like, Dave, we've talked about gaming and streaming and whatnot.
Sure.
If you want to be a Twitch gamer, or if you want to have people contribute to you, there's a paywall, there's a financial cost for having people donate to you or pay you for your content, right? There's a processing fee. As someone who uses PayPal now for some of the stuff that I do, you got to pay 3% fee. And even if you do credit card processing, even if you have a full, Moto account, you got 22 cents on a debit transaction and all that stuff. With Bitcoin, the promise was you could be a content creator. Let's say I do a cool video on how to set up a podcast, for example, right? I could have people give me a penny's worth of Bitcoin, and it doesn't cost me anything. And, then it becomes a way to monetize your content without having to serve advertisements. And those two concepts I really, really liked. I'm not sure if that second concept with this would work. For example, there's social media influencers, right, that are out there through Facebook and Instagram. They're getting paid by companies to promote their stuff. Yeah. What if this integrated through Facebook would allow you maybe you make funny videos and you put it on social media. Maybe it would allow people to compensate you through Libra. I don't know. That might be a promise of this. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't understand. Well, I do understand that they're taking all of this, and Facebook is just the front organization for this. When you look at what they actually announced, they're offloading the responsibility to all of these other organizations to kind of take the brunt of the regulation. And it's just so typical of these big Silicon Valley corporations. They offload the responsibility to others. You look at contract labor in Facebook and contract labor in Google. So they're shifting the responsibility, and really Facebook is a way, I think, just to reach people, because Facebook is huge. It's global, and
so that percent charge thing is kind of funny too. I don't know if you've ever done this, but a long time ago as a child, I was with my grandfather. Actually, I was a teenager, but he purchased a brand new car on his Amex, right? Well, the dealership didn't realize they had to pay a 3 or 3.5% charge. And we literally got home and they started calling, asking to come back and pay in a different method. And it did not turn out pretty for them.
Yeah, I just went through the Amex levels because I saw a guy with the Amex Black Card. And I was like, what do you have to do to get a black card? And I realized, this guy's balling. This guy's at a baller level. He's spending a lot on that card to keep that card going. It's kind of interesting. He had a harmonica that was heavier than this mic stand. This thing was the heaviest piece. It was like solid gold harmonica. One of those
tungsten or something?
Yeah, one of those eccentric characters with a black card. Anyways, that's
vibranium.
A story for vibranium, adamantium. One of those stories for another time. So I wanted to, before we end this Facebook topic, because I got tons to talk about with Facebook, we talked about privacy as being an emerging trend a minute ago. That's what Facebook's been kind of whacked for recently. Been hit for. And that was the concern in this article. They sort of gloss over, like, Facebook's promise that this won't be used to serve ads to our customers, this and that. And so my personal take on it is I've used Facebook to advertise before for businesses, for my own, for customers. I plan on using it for this company at some point. Facebook does seem to lock you down. The fact they have some automation in place, some AI, if you will. I tried to do an advertisement for a high-end motorhome. I tried to target an income bracket because it's a $200,000 coach. And Facebook denied the ad and said, you can't discriminate housing, if it was a house, based on income bracket in their advertising. It's kind of interesting how they sort of had some things in place. So I'm not sure how this plays into that, but I feel like Facebook's probably going to use your data for whatever they can, whether they realize it or not.
They came out and said, we're not going to use your financial information to target ads with you. I mean, sure, Facebook's not, but they're not really the ones in charge of this. It is this other organization. So Facebook may not do that. But again, someone has to control all of these transactions. That has to go through some system somewhere. And I would only assume that data is going to be used for some purpose at some point. So I'm very skeptical of this.
Okay, we're all skeptical. All of us are anti-Facebook. We're anti-cryptocurrency. We're anti-everything, guys.
I'm not inherently anti-cryptocurrency, but
I'll stick to my Litecoins and my Ethereum.
Yeah, this is gross. Yeah.
Ethereum coin. All right, cool. All right, we had a late edition, guys. Let's move on to headline number 3. This was the U.S. cyber attack on the Russian power grid. So the headline here is U.S. cyber attack. Did America really try to override the Russian power grid? And here's the quote. The United States had successfully performed offensive operations against Moscow, readers were told, undermining key parts of Russian infrastructure. So, Dave, you brought this to my attention.
Yeah.
Fill me in on this.
So this is just reeks of Cold War cloak and dagger to me. It's kind of in the vein of the nuclear deterrence, because there's been a lot of concern about foreign actors accessing our power grid, trying to either stage something in the event that they want to attack or just create havoc. And I think this is a way of kind of manufacturing some kind of announcement that says, okay, you may be able to push the red button on us, but we can do the same to you. And yeah, it's mutually assured destruction. I think it's an interesting diplomatic play, but it's a weird way of announcing your capability.
It's weird, right? That they announced it. If they announce this, what are they not announcing is my first thought process.
Yeah.
Well, I think we talked about this once before, but this is really that whole scenario of, do you really think everybody's not attacking each other?
Sure.
I mean, the reality is, yeah, everybody is.
Yeah, and we have already attacked Russia openly, and we attacked this, I forget exactly what they called it, but we went after some of the servers that were being operated by this Russian, I think they called it a troll factory of some kind. But let me look it up.
Whenever I hear Russian trolls, I imagine Russian trolls, like a troll that's like speaking in Russian. That's what I imagine.
Yeah. So they pointed to a recent Cyber Command attack on the Internet Research Agency troll farm in St. Petersburg as an example of a more measured and targeted operation. In that strike, which is what they call it, U.S. hackers destroyed the servers of the criminal link disinformation operation, but didn't cause any of the collateral damage inherent in an attack on a power grid. So I guess let's just admit that we carried out an operation against another global power, that we struck their infrastructure. But thank goodness we didn't cause any collateral damage. I mean, use that same language in Afghanistan or Syria or wherever.
Or drone strikes.
I mean, where do you draw the line? It's just, so I guess we're telegraphing the fact that we can blow away their power grid, and that's supposed to have some kind of deterrent effect.
Yeah, I mean, we've had all these issues lately with, Russian warplanes and Chinese warplanes intercepting each other and different things, and now we're just saying, hey, we attacked you. But don't worry, it didn't hurt anything.
I had a golf ball in your yard on purpose, but
yeah,
I didn't break a planter or anything or a window. Don't worry. My question I always have is when I hear these stories, and this is probably just my naive American bias, but when's North Korea and Russia going to get their shit together, guys? Like, what are we doing here? Isn't it 2019?
I think you mean China and North Korea because they're more linked economically, but
probably.
But yeah,
I mean,
to that point,
they're all kind of.
When is it going to stop? I don't know.
I'm guessing we probably don't have any Russian listeners to the podcast yet, but
90 can't we all just get along?
Can we all get along? Yeah, get your stuff togetger, guys. Come on.
We just lost him.
We just lost him.
We got stuff going on in Iran now too, and they're sending troops over there.
I'm narrow. I need to be more global with my thinking of who needs to get there.
It's us versus everyone, Chris. Come on,
everybody. All right, cool. Now that I've offended all of Russia and North Korea, we'll move on to the next news article.
No, I think you're right though. Before we move on, I think it's. These attacks are just going to escalate and get worse, and everybody's going to be attacking everybody, and then pretty soon that's where Skynet's coming in.
Yeah, I think maybe we're all pretty close to the same age. I feel like it's media nowadays. I think media just escalates things in a way that never was before.
Yeah. There's very few real instances of like actual journalism and reporting. It's all just entertainment media to get a following, pump them full of awful things, and then see how much ad revenue you can get out of it. So.
It's true. That's a good way to sum it up. And also, when you have guys like me at the helm of websites, it's always scary.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. We better hurry up before they start a ping pong game over there. Headline number 3. Okay. Samsung's security reminder makes the case for not owning a Samsung Smart TV. This is from TheVerge.com. Samsung security reminder makes the case. Oh, I just wrote the same thing twice. All right, never mind. Hey, so this is perfect cue up for the dumbest thing in cybersecurity for the week. So Jeff, you brought this to my attention. This was basically a tweet that Samsung put out that was like making a case for why you shouldn't really own a smart TV because they're vulnerable for hacks, right?
Yeah. This is great. Apparently, buried down in the menu, you can your TV apparently can virus scan itself or something. And, I read some great quotes here from Twitter, and this one guy posts that they're recommending we manually dig into the menus to run a virus scan every few weeks. Why don't they just also ask us to defrag the disk as well?
Defrag.
What are they making? Retro TVs? I mean, this is pretty silly and crazy. Like, first off, I had no idea my TVs had virus scanning.
All I own is Samsung TVs too. I have all Samsung. I love a Samsung fanatic.
I don't own any, but even still, I didn't know that they had virus scan. And not only that, but if I'm an attacker, wouldn't I just try to infect the virus scan?
Yeah, I guess.
The silly thing to me is, these are just little Android boxes in the TV to provide some additional functionality so you can download apps and that kind of thing. Are we not in the era where your refrigerator has that, your toaster, your coffee maker? So am I going to be able to run a virus scan on my Samsung refrigerator? Or
make sure you defrag your oven.
Yeah. Where does it stop?
Defrag your oven. That's definitely one of the outtakes of the week. Defrag your oven, bro.
Yeah. I should have read that guy's Twitter handle, but it was a great comment.
It is kind of funny. So going back to this article, so Samsung's actually deleted the tweet. Why did they delete it? Did they feel embarrassed that they put it out there? What do you think?
Doesn't it sound silly to you?
It sounds really silly. It's weird they would delete it. Just kind of own it. You guys said it. Everyone picked it up in news they put it in the news syndication. You guys said something silly. Oh well.
Samsung has a history of interesting relationships with social media. I remember when I forget which Galaxy phone it was exploding. There was a whole social media mop-up campaign after that to try to rectify the image, and it's just a typical.
So this is they're talking in this other article about those 40 zero-day vulnerabilities in the Samsung TV. It's crazy. You don't think about all these things, but again, like Dave said, your refrigerator, if it has connectivity and, all these other IoT devices, which by the way is another big thing, is, this Internet of Things devices is continuing to grow. Yeah. Pretty soon everything will be connected, your toaster, everything, to the network. So,
and Skynet, that's how they get you.
Exactly. It all leads back to Skynet.
I'm gonna be like the Unabomber, I'm being man in the woods here. I'm gonna get away from Skynet. When I got the beard, just need the hoodie now.
You're gonna be doing it wearing your, Finding Bigfoot hoodie.
Finding Bigfoot. Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, I think we covered the news for today. For our listeners out there, no deep dive segment this week because we had just so much fun news to talk about, and we talked about AI for forever. So we're out of time for this week. But stay tuned, guys. We have some exciting episodes coming up in the future. We're going to change formats a little bit. And we have some special guests coming in. We're going to have an analyst from our Security Operations Center come in, give us a day in the life. And we got some external surprise guests coming up soon. So no spoiler alerts. You'll have to just stay tuned to the next episode of the Hash Time Show. But anyways, guys, appreciate you tuning in. This has been the Hash Time Show. I'm your host, Chris. Thanks again. Dave, right? Dave. Thanks again, Dave. Thanks again, Dave and Jeff. Who is this guy? And we'll catch you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Hash Time Show. Check us out online at hashtimeshow.com.